Hello, hello, roommates. It's Jelana coming at you from the Blue Room, and tonight I'm going to be showing you how to design your own custom button packaging cards in Canva so your products look clean, branded, and ready to sell. I have two versions for us this evening. There's going to be a individual button card, a 4-piece, and a 6-piece with 2 mini pins. To get started, we're going to go over and create a brand new design. I want this to be landscape, so I'm going to create a custom size that is in the dimensions 8.5 by 11 or 11 and 8.5 because we want it to be landscape. I want to be able to fit 2 5x7 cards on one page. So this is going to help me batch my prints and save on paper. Okay, I can close this. Okay, so first we're going to head over to Elements, and I'm going to build my layout using guides so everything stays super consistent. Our first rectangle is going to be in the size of a 5x7. So the width will be 5 and the height will be 7 inches. I'll drag this over. I'm going to be using those magenta guides to tell me where the center is on my page. There we go. I will also want this backing to be white. And because I'll be using my brand colors, I'm going to put an outline around it with a stroke size of 1 in the color navy. You all know I'm a fan of my brand kits, so I've already set my things up to have all of my colors, all of my fonts, all of those good things. You do have to be a Canva Pro member in order to save more than one, but I would highly encourage you to start your own brand kit so that you can have cohesive fonts and colors throughout all of your designs. Okay, so here's our first 5x7 card. I'm going to duplicate this so I know I can fit 2 cards on one page. Again, using my magenta lines to tell me where the center is. And then I've spaced them evenly, so now I know I can fit 2 per page. Everything is clean and centered. If you want to be super precise, you can always turn on your rulers by coming over to File, Settings, and adding your guides to set things up in the way in which you would like. We don't really need those this time, but I just wanted to show you how to get there. All right, now we get to build our actual card backing. I'm gonna start with the header by grabbing another rectangle. And this one is going to be the width of my card, but the height is gonna be 1.25 inches or 1.3 inches. You can again use the guides on screen, or you can go over to position and type in the height that you would like. Cool. I'm going to keep my header consistent across all of my packaging. So I want the background to be navy. And again, I'm just going to duplicate this to ensure that I can have 2 per page. From now on, I'm going to be building one side of our card backing, and then I will duplicate everything and bring it over so that we don't have to duplicate each individual element. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put our headline in here. I'm gonna go again over to text. We'll grab our heading, and this is where our headlines should go. Because I'm using a darker backing, I want the text to pop, so I'll change that to white and move it into my headline. That seems a little bit large, so I'll change the font size down to 25. Okay, I want to be able to tell where my middle is. So I'm just going to delete that for now so that I can tell where the middle is. So your headline is going to go here. And then I'm also going to create another space so we can put some accent text. And I do want to keep it all caps because I feel like it will stick out and be a little more bold for me. So I'd like to do that. Okay, underneath this is going to be in the text pop-ins, and I do like the size 18. And then I'm going to add a little like accent line. So I come over to elements. I just want a line. And I'm going to drag it up so that it hovers a little bit above the edge of my border. So let me change the color so we can see. I'm going to use my accent color, which is this Blue Room Blue. And then I'll extend it. Okay, now let's move this corner back. Oh. Let's move this up. I want that to be 0. Okay, cool. Yeah, I want it to be like a pop of color because I want this to be something that is repeatable and branded and cohesive. So I will change the headlines per season. So I'll show you guys what a graduation theme looks like once we're done creating our template. But I don't plan on changing this too much. This is just going to be what all of my buttons go on. Okay, so now let's add our placement guide. So for the backing, I used to make thank you cards and I wanted a polka dot backing, but the key here is to choose something that is editable. You can tell whether something is editable is because you can click on your color, this circle, and change the color of the polka dots. There are options on elements that are not editable, and you will be able to tell those because when you click on them, they will not give you the option to use the circle. Yes, so for instance, this one, I cannot change the color very easily. There's no circle up here to tell me to change it, whereas if I click on this one, I can change the color by clicking on the circle. So if there's no circle, if there's no color circle for you to change the colors, you can use edit and adjust and all that, but it's a long way around where you can just find many other polka dot options for backing. I also want the backing to be subtle, so I'm going to change this to gray. And I'm going to change the transparency as well because I just don't want it plain black, but I don't want it to take away from whatever the design will be. So I think 25 should work. Okay, so the largest button that I'll be making is on my We Are Memory Keepers button maker, which is a 2.25 size button. The smallest I'll be able to make is 0.98 inches. So once we're done building our card backing, I will place the markers, if you will, to make sure that everything can fit and align onto this card. So first, let's go ahead and knock out this footer down here. I'm going to do the same thing by going to grab a square or a rectangle. And for this one, I want the height of this to be 0.75. And it is going to go in front of my polka dots so that there's a clear like stopping point. And then I want this to actually be 0.75. So I'm just going to manually change that and then align it to the bottom using my magenta guides. Okay. Okay, so from here, I would like to add some branding here. This is where I always add my brand handle. So you can double click inside of here and type your brand or wherever you can find your socials. I want this to be not all caps though. So let me try that again. Oh, I don't think I have a choice in this. Okay, then I will add a text box on top because I don't want it to be in all caps. I want to be able to distinctly tell what my brand name is. So I want to be able to capitalize the important words. Okay, so then I can place this in the middle and I can change the font color to that navy blue so that it's cohesive. do want to change all of it. And then I also like to add a QR code to all of my products just to make it easy on my customer to find me. So for here, I can remove the background, and because again, I don't want it to stick out so much and be a little more subtle, I can change the logo color to a navy. And then from here, I just downsize it to maybe 0.5 would probably be a little easier here. Okay. I think that's pretty good. And that way, when people receive their buttons in the mail, they can find me and leave a review. Okay, I think that fits pretty nicely there. I could also just leave it that bright color. Ooh, that's too much of a contrast, right? Yeah, not ideal. So we'll leave it navy. Okay, cool. Now these small details will always give people a way to find you again. So now I can go to my brand kit, add a text box. And this is where I'm going to put my handle. Okay, I'd like that font to be navy, and I'm going to center this. Text color navy. Okay, and then this is also where I'm gonna go ahead and add my QR code. Always give people a way to find you again. These small details can help balance out your layout too, so it's not all focused just on what the customer is getting, but also links directly to your shop or Instagram or your socials to make it easy for them to become repeat customers for you. So I'm gonna add my QR code here, just on the side. And then I'm going to remove the background so that it doesn't stick out as much. Highlight both and then center this using my magenta guides. Okay. Oh, it's a little close to the top there, so I'll just bring it down a little. Okay. Cool. Now, let's go ahead and arrange our guides to make sure things fit the way that they're supposed to. First, we're going to deal with a larger button. So I'm going to go ahead and click on elements again, but this time I'd like a circle. Now I know the We Are Memory Keepers button maker makes the largest size of a 2.25 button. However, when you are pressing your button, you need to create a little bit of extra space so that your paper will wrap around the button and secure tightly the backing and the front and the acetate sheet that goes over it. So because of that, you actually want the dimensions to be a little bit larger. I could not for the life of me find a good template specifically for the We Are Memory Keepers button maker. So I did us all a favor and I am creating the template for us. So if you got a Canva profile, go ahead and hope you're crafting along with me, designing along with me. And if not, grab your pencil and paper because this is important. For the large button, we want the backing, the biggest size to be 2.7 inches. And I'm going to turn that into a white color, white background, and add an outline. And this is going to give me the biggest piece available to this button. Anything bigger than this will chop off the edges. Anything smaller than this will not curve properly. So the biggest circle here needs to be 2.7 by 2.7. Okay, now this is where we can customize. So I'm going to go over to elements and then grab a frame. And the frame is also going to be a circle. Grab my circle. but this frame is going to be 2.45 inches, which again is slightly bigger than the actual button because the paper has to wrap around it. So here I still want to give myself a stroke style of width 1, but I'm going to make it dotted lines just so you can tell where the actual ending of your paper will be. Now let's build a 4-pack. So I'm going to delete this holder for now. Okay, I'm going to highlight all of these elements, duplicate them, and then bring them over so I can fit 2 per page using my guides. Okay, now because I will be using 4 per page, I can resize these. For a medium button on the We Are Memory Keepers button press, the inside circle would need to be 1.45 inches. 1.45 inches. The outer circle would need to be 1.92 inches. I can highlight both of them, position, center, middle. This is going to be one button. Group it together. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, I can use my magenta to tell me where the middle is. Okay, now I've got a backing for 4-piece. Now, the We Are Memory Keepers also makes a 1-inch button. So I'm going to duplicate this sheet and make my mini buttons. So the inside of my mini buttons, my small ones, the inside needs to be 1 inch. This is for the 0.98 We Are Memory Keepers small buttons. So the inside would be 1 inch. And the outside would be 1.2 inches. Again, I can highlight both, center, and now I'm able to fit these mini buttons and the 4-piece on one card. So I will duplicate another one, maybe put that there, and then all of these could also fit on this sheet, and I can just rearrange them to make them fit. There we go. Okay, I'm just lining everything up, making sure we all can fit. Okay. And now I can make 6 buttons total per half of sheet. So this is a 5 by 7, and I can fit 6 buttons on here at the most. And then again, I don't need these. I can delete them and then copy these over. I can make this a group. Okay. Duplicate this and pull it over. I'm going to slide this a little because it's up against the border, and I want a little space. There we go. There we go. And these are just my guides, but I am going to move them over to Cricut so that I can cut them properly. And that way, each time I basically make a sale on Etsy, I can create this, pull it up, add the pictures, customize, and create the backing each time I get a sale versus, or I guess I could batch create these and keep them blank and just remove the guides altogether. Like, I guess I don't have to have the guides. So for instance, if I were making a graduation specific button. I might do something that says congrats grad, and then class of 2026. Okay, I can go and grab a picture of my graduate. Something like that. Remove the background, and this is going to be exactly what his button looks like on the card backing. Or I could add like different font, like proud mom, proud dad. Now, even though the backing of this white circle will probably not show on my button, I think it would be a nice idea to add a little color just in case it peeks around the corner. I just feel like if I have to customize it with the colors of the if I have to customize it with the photo of the graduate, then I might as well add, since I'm in here. I feel like it won't hurt me to do a little something extra and maybe provide a nice surprise. So let me change this to, oh, it's because they're grouped. I'm like, why is this happening? Sorry, y'all. Okay, so grab this backing. I only want this one piece. And then I can change this to yellow. Same thing. I only want this one piece. Change it to yellow. Okay, and then my last piece again, I can change it to yellow. Or you could choose black or red, whichever, but my graduate has a gold stole on, so that's what we're gonna do. Now, if I want to personalize these and make this for like mom, dad, brother, sister, right? Like people who are a part of the graduate's family, then my heading changes, but nothing else really does. So from here, it might say proud crew. And then I might switch these around and put meet the above. So I can pull this down to align. And pull this down to align. And maybe this says meet the proud crew. Okay, same thing. You can use your positioning, make everything work. Did I make this one line or 2 lines? Okay, 2 lines. Okay, cool. Now from here, I can add my sayings: proud mom, proud sister, proud dad. The issue here though is that because I'm using PNGs and I chose to build my template using a frame, unfortunately, when I pull my PNGs into my frame, it will take over. So let's say I do proud mom. If I bring proud mom over, it will basically eat up my space and change it to yellow. And that's not exactly what I want. So before I drag things over, I'm going to take my backing, my frame, I want to color it black, and I'm going to place a lock on it. And what the lock does is it keeps the frame from acting like a frame. Oh, I don't want that. I want mom. So it keeps my frame from acting like a frame. So now I can resize and place it on top without anything, happening to it, without it expanding and reverting back to acting like a normal frame. Now, this just so happens to come gold, but again, if you're customizing, then you can change those colors. I'm actually going to make it a little bit more basic because as a business owner, I don't want to have to customize every little thing. So I'm going to create this crew: mom, dad, sister, brother, but I'm going to keep things personal, but not customizable. Customizable would mean I would put the mom's name or the graduate's name or something only meant for that person. Personalizable means that this could go for general relationships. So this could be a mom, this could be any dad, any mom, not necessarily the mom of the graduate or the graduate themselves. So from here, I'm going to magic erase. I want to take away the gold pieces, the graduate and, I want the brush, the graduate and proud. So I'm going to grab my brush and remove this. Now, I feel like you have to be a Canva Pro member in order to use these magic edit options. So please just know that I am a Canva Pro member. I would encourage you to try the 30-day trial if you can, because it essentially pays for itself with all of the different tools and things that you can use. So let's remove the proud and the graduate. We don't want them to be gold, so we are just going to erase them. Let it do its thing. I go to erase. And now everything is white. I can exit out of this. And now I've got white. Now again, the stoles are red, but I can customize those colors, turn them green if I would like, or pink, or purple, or whatever really works. But because I don't want to have to come in here and change this for everything, I'm just going to also make it white. Same thing here. I just want to turn it to white. Okay, now I'm going to do that same exact thing for dad, brother, and sister. If you're interested in grabbing these graphics in PNG or SVG, so maybe you want to make t-shirts instead of these buttons, these are available using the link in my bio. You can grab the entire set. It has lots of different options for you. So dad, mom, friend, uncle, cousin, aunt, grandpa, grandma, everybody you can think of. So you can create personal buttons for everybody in the family. Same thing, brother and sister. But for now, I'm going to show you how to upload this into Cricut so that you can do a print and cut, and that will be our project. So from here, you're going to share this as a PNG, exactly as it is. I'm only going to do the first page. The second page, you do the same thing with the mini button. But I'm going to current page. I want this as a PNG, and then I go to done and download. Okay, now over on my Cricut Design Space, I create a brand new project, and then I want to upload an image. You go to where your image was downloaded. Congrats, grad. Open. Okay, and here it is. I click continue. You'll click on select, and then you want to take the actual page away so that it's only the backings here and here. Okay, we'll go to apply and continue. This is going to be a flat graphic. We press continue again. You can put it into our graduation folder and upload. All right, so this is exactly what it's going to look like. But remember, we only want, even if we want both of these, they won't fit. So because it's too large, and we can't just resize it because this is the shape of the paper and the size of the paper that we need. So what we can do is, we know the width is going to be 10. So that makes each of these 5 by 7. That makes sense, right? Right. But we can't print this as is, so we're going to do a couple things. First thing is, we're going to go over to shapes, grab another square. We know our square is 5 by 7. So we want to slice out half of our print and cut. Slice. And what that's going to do is create 2 different options for us. Here's 1, here's 2. You can get rid of the slice results. This looks like it has a little bit left over there. So the way you get rid of that is you can grab the same shape and slice this out. There we go. Okay, select both, slice. It's going to tell me, oh, that was left over there, that was left over there, that was left over there. Okay, now we've got 2 separate things that we can print and cut. But we still need to make our button. So we grab another circle. We're going to use our guide to size this out for us. And what we've just done is created our button backing and the piece that we need to actually create our button all in one go. Okay, and again, to check the size, we knew that it was going to be 2.7. So again, I could just do that. Okay, it should be in the center, but just to check, we can align horizontal and vertical. Oh, not centered vertical, that's fine. And then we will again highlight both and slice. This is now our button piece that we would cut. And then we have our card backing that we could either put on another piece of cardstock, another piece of chipboard, or what I plan to do is slice. You can get rid of this circle. This is now your photo piece that you're going to actually make into a button. And then you'll click on slice result, contour, and then put the middle back. And now you've got our piece for our button and a keepsake card that maybe they might want to frame or keep, cut out, whatever. Cool. You could do the same thing over here. You would just grab another shape, slice 4. These were, again, you could just use your eyesight to resize and slice out each one, then contour it back to put an example of what it should look like. So that way you're not really wasting any paper and you're maximizing the time spent on customizing and personalizing. Okay? So from here, I would just make all of this one unit. Then I would slice out the circles, move those to the front, add the slice back by going to contour and then filling in all your circles. You don't need those. So now you've got your backing and you've got the button press all in one motion. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please leave me a comment below. I really appreciate all of the feedback that I get. And now you should be ready to print, cut, and go. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch y'all next time. Bye.